So let's say now if a young parent who's watching this and he has a problem that the student is not doing well in the school. You said that all these parents would be sending them to the tuitions and all. So what do you advise these parents that if now let's assume that they are going to the school and there is no option of homeschooling or a community schooling because that's what is happening in India. What would you advise these parents that okay अगर बच्चा अच्छा नहीं भी कर रहा है तो क्या करना चाहिए?
So that, see, a lot of people perhaps watching this are well-off parents. They can easily afford to buy a computer. So what I would suggest is buy a computer, call 2 or 3 of his friends over, give them popcorn and let them learn for themselves. So they'll do all their homework by themselves. The homework will get over. They'll do all the doubt solving so that ye nahi samjha teacher ne nahi wo clear ho jayega, because you can go to a YouTube channel, you can go to whatever, you can ask ChatGPT, and out of 3 kids, 1 will be bright. He'll figure all this stuff out so that he'll be able to teach the rest. Plus, you're using what is called the flipped classroom model. Because guess what? You study for the next day's lectures. Because you know what, teacher, abhi chapter 5 ho gaya, teacher next day chapter 6 sikhane wali hai. Study chapter 6 in advance. तो टीचर कोई भी सवाल पूछेगी, मिस मुझे आंसर है. अरे यार, ये तो बच्चे बहुत स्मार्ट है. You become the teacher's pet. So that then when you go back to school, you're guaranteed to do well. So in fact, I'm willing to make this promise that anyone who follows this method will get 10% more marks in the next exam. For what reasons? You've solved your doubts. You've learned with each other from the world's bestest things. You've done the flipped classroom, so you've impressed your classroom teacher. And the only way to do well in an exam is to study the last year's 10 papers and solve them. All those last year's 10 model papers are available, model answers are available.
Fair. With this, I think the student will also become smarter and it's like a very practical way of constant learning. So
students will become self-directed learners. So now they'll fall into 2 categories. Yeah. One of them will say the school is all stupid, but I have to pass the marks. Otherwise, my mother is going to give my life a hard time. So I'm going to game the system. This is the way to game the system. You study for the exam, you do this, and I'll do well. But you know what? Now I have so much more spare time. And my passion is the guitar. But now that I'm doing well in school, my mom is going to allow me to do the guitar. And there's so much digital music. There are so many of these variants. You know what? I'm going to play the guitar and create a YouTube channel for myself. So by the time I've come out of school, I have a YouTube channel with 10,000 subscribers who are looking at my guitar. And then tomorrow I want to earn money off it, or I want to do gigs, or I want someone to hire me, or 50 different things will open.
Yeah. This reminds me, of the story of Mr. Beast, who is world's biggest YouTube creator. And his story is also like, he started YouTube when he was 11 or 12, when he was in school. And his mom didn't used to like that he's spending more time on YouTube, etc. But somehow he was like, he just wants to do that passionately. And today when he has more than 300 million subscribers on YouTube, when we see the success story, it's like a proper compounding effect of the last 14 years, 15 years of doing YouTube when he was in school. That has helped him in order to become a successful YouTube creator.
So just think about it. All these kids will have such a huge competitive edge because all the other kids are used to being taught. They're not used to learning for themselves. And the great thing is you have sites like brilliant.org, you have sites like Khan Academy, you have sites, so you can pick and choose. I'll give you an example. A New York Times subscription in India costs 600 rupees. Now, if you subscribe to New York Times and you told your kid, please read the New York Times. They've got so many sections, science, business, tech, or whatever else. This is world-class writing, world-class videos, world-class audio, you're exposing that kid instead of that stupid classroom. 4 walls with a stupid textbook, with a stupid teacher who's stuck in the past, only cares about you're doing, because that's how she gets, if your kids don't do well in exam, तो फिर सब पेरेंट्स आके उसका सिर खाने वाले. एंड इफ शी डेयर्स टू टीच एनीथिंग व्हिच इज नॉट इन द सिलेबस, और फिर पेरेंट्स आके खाए, तो क्यों उसको सिखा रहे हो, ये तो एग्जाम में आने नहीं वाला है. I mean, the teachers really get such a raw deal. It's not even funny. But anyway, so now imagine all the second order consequences of some of the stuff which I'm describing. Mm-hmm. So I think there's just so much opportunity, and it's just a question of tapping into it.
Yeah, I think good white spaces that you've discussed today in the education industry.
But I want the ownership. So I don't like the word industry. I don't think education should be a business. I think it's a parent's job to educate their child. You cannot outsource it to anyone else, whether it's a school or a college or anyone else. It's your responsibility, and you need to be the role model. If your kid sees you come back home and you watch TV all day long, or you're on a reel all day long, what moral authority do you have to tell him, नहीं तो तेरा मोबाइल के मत बैठ, तुम खुद करते हो और फिर उसको बोलते हो बॉस double standards. Kids will do what you do, not what you say. Whereas if they can see that you're learning along with them, you find some common topic of interest and you learn with them, they will learn along with you. Then they will learn for themselves. You cut the umbilical cord and there's just so much commonality. I think the biggest mistake Indian parents make is they focus on the kids' weaknesses. Let me explain. You do very well in maths, but you're failing in geography. What will the parent do? मैथ्स तो ठीक है बॉस, तुझको ऐसे भी ए ग्रेड मिल रहा है, लेकिन तेरी ज्योग्राफी खराब है, तो मैं तेरे लिए ज्योग्राफी ट्यूटर. तेरी ज्योग्राफी कभी सुधरने नहीं वाली है. यू डोंट लाइक इट फॉर वट एवर रीजन बिकॉज योर सेकंड स्टैंडर्ड ज्योग्राफी टीचर वाज अ मैस, यू डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड इट. But now you're trying to buttress the weakness, which you can never do. So at the most, from a failing grade, you'll become a mediocre student. What about the opportunity cost, boss? That same time, if instead of wasting on getting a D grade in geography to a C grade, he could have spent on maths. He could have become a math Olympiad champ. But no one thinks of these second order consequences. In life, you don't get paid for mediocrity. You get paid for doing the one thing which no one else is as good as what you do. Why are you doing what you do, Kushal? Because you're the only guy who's doing it. And therefore, you have an unfair edge as compared to every other CA. Every other CA is like a cog in the wheel, a commodity, a wedge. वो भी मेरे accounts balance करेगा, वो भी मेरा tally करेगा. लेकिन podcast कौन करने वाला है? वो तो सिर्फ कुछ. You've created that brand. People don't seem to realize that. And the right way to start is when you're 6 and 7 and 8, not after your.
Yeah. I wish I would have started earlier in my
But
school.
you're still young. You have the rest of your life ahead of you. So I think that's fine.
Very, very interesting. If you learned something new from this video, do share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel so that we can bring you the best content possible. Also, if you want to watch this entire episode, click on the link in the description box and you can go to Kushal Lodha YouTube channel and watch the entire podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching this and have an amazing day.